Evelyn adjusted her bag on her shoulder and took one last look at the orphanage that had been her home for 19 years. The imposing red brick building held memories of his childhood, filled with smiles and moments of solitude. With a deep sigh, she turned and headed towards the gate, feeling her heart accelerate, mixing anxiety with the excitement of the new chapter that was beginning. It was a sunny day, and Evelyn was about to start a new journey. Thanks to the support of the director of the orphanage, she had gotten a job as a maid in the mansion of Samuel Walker, a famous real estate businessman. The opportunity seemed like a distant dream, but now it was within reach. Upon arriving at the imposing mansion, Evelyn was greeted by Adam, the butler who had worked for the family for over 30 years. His stern gaze and rigid posture intimidated her, but Evelyn stood her ground, determined to prove herself. Adam presented the mansion's facilities in a cold manner, his words filled with distrust. "This job requires responsibility," he said, as they walked through the luxurious hallways. "The Walker family is demanding and does not tolerate mistakes." Evelyn nodded, trying to hide her apprehension. "I understand, Mr. Adam. I will do my best." The first few days were challenging. Adam didn't miss a chance to criticize his work, pointing out every little mistake. Although the pressure increased with each disapproving look, Evelyn was undeterred. His determination was stronger than any criticism. She woke up before the sun rose, starting her tasks with admirable dedication. Evelyn cleaned the rooms, took care of the common areas and kept the kitchen always spotless. Despite Adam's constant criticism, she was dedicated to learning and improving, absorbing every detail of how to keep the mansion in perfect condition. One particularly difficult morning, while cleaning the living room chandeliers, Adam approached. "You left a stain on the dinner table last night," he said in a hard voice. "This is unacceptable." Evelyn swallowed, feeling the weight of the words. "Sorry, Mr. Adam. I'll pay more attention." He sighed, still suspicious. "We'll see. Don't forget that this job demands perfection." Despite the difficulties, Evelyn found moments of peace while working. The mansion's garden was a refuge where she could breathe and reflect. During his breaks, he would sit for a few minutes, admiring the flowers and listening to the birds singing. It was there that she recharged her energy and remembered why she was there, to build a better life for herself. That night, after a long day, Evelyn lay down on her small bed in the mansion, exhausted but pleased with her progress. Although Adam was a critical presence, he knew he was learning and growing every day. Determined to prove her worth, she closed her eyes, ready to face the challenges of the next day. The sun had barely risen over the horizon when Evelyn was already up, starting another day of work at the Walker mansion. His objective was simple: to show that he was capable of performing his duties with excellence, even in the face of Adam's constant criticism. The kitchen, one of Evelyn's favorite places, was her refuge that morning. As she carefully cleaned the surfaces, she lost herself in thoughts about the future she dreamed of. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air, bringing a sense of comfort. Absorbed in her tasks, Evelyn did not notice the approach of firm footsteps. Samuel Walker, the family patriarch, had just returned from a long business trip. Exhaustion was written all over his face, but there was something deeper in his eyes, a silent melancholy, a weight he had carried since his daughter's disappearance. Upon entering the kitchen in search of a glass of water, Raoul was momentarily paralyzed. Evelyn had her back turned, focused on her work, but the heart-shaped necklace she wore caught her attention. Something inside Raoul whispered that this young woman could be linked to his past in a way he had never imagined. Meanwhile, Evelyn continued her routine, oblivious to the storm that was forming around her. The necklace around her neck, a symbol of her mysterious past, now became the center of a new investigation that could change her life forever. Raoul was determined to discover the truth, whatever the cost. Sitting in his leather armchair in the office, Raoul kept his phone in his hand. The conversation with his detective friend, Benjamin, was quick, but full of implications. Benjamin promised to begin the investigation immediately, ensuring that all leads would be followed up rigorously. Raoul knew he could leave no stone unturned when it came to finding out the truth about Evelyn. Meanwhile, Evelyn continued to work, with no idea what was about to happen. Meanwhile, Evelyn continued her daily tasks, oblivious to the turmoil that swirled around her life. She followed her routine meticulously, determined to prove herself, even in the face of Adam's constant criticism. Every day was a struggle, but she clung to the hope of a better future. That night, Raoul sat in his office, thinking. He analyzed every detail of the conversation with Benjamin, imagining what information might emerge. The idea that Evelyn might have a connection to her daughter brought a mix of hope and anxiety. He remembered happy times with his daughter, now shrouded in pain and longing. "Benjamin, I want you and your team to do whatever it takes to find out everything about Evelyn's past. Spare no effort or resources. We need answers quickly," Raoul said, his voice firm and determined. "All right, Raoul. Let's get started right away. I'll keep you posted on any progress," replied Benjamin, understanding the urgency of the situation. As Raoul hung up, a sense of determination came over him. He was willing to face whatever came his way, aware that the truth could both heal and hurt. In Raoul's mind, the search for answers became a personal mission, a way to recover what had been lost. A few days later, Benjamin contacted Raoul to set up a meeting. The urgency in his voice made Raoul realize that something significant had been discovered. They met in a discreet cafe in the city center, away from prying eyes. "Raoul, my team has made significant progress," Benjamin said, wasting no time. Evelyn was found in a park 17 years ago, when she was around 2 years old. She was taken to an orphanage soon after, where she grew up until she recently left there. Raoul listened attentively, feeling his heart speed up. "What about the necklace? Is there any clue as to who could have left it there?" Benjamin shook his head. "Not yet, but we are checking all available records and interviewing anyone who might remember anything. What we know so far is that Evelyn has no clear family records. Everything is a mystery." Raoul felt a mixture of hope and apprehension. The fact that Evelyn was found in a park raised many questions. "We need to find out who left her there and what happened before that," he said, the determination in his voice growing. "Yes, and we are doing so," replied Benjamin. "We will explore all records. If there is any connection to your daughter, we need to find her." Raoul took a deep breath, assimilating the information. "So, Evelyn has been living without knowing anything about her past, without any idea who her parents are?" "Exactly. The orphanage had no additional information about her. Just that she was found in the park with the necklace. We are trying to track down possible witnesses or any clues as to who could have left her there," Benjamin replied. The thought of his lost daughter had never been so present in Raoul's mind. Every detail of the investigation seemed to bring him closer to a revelation he feared and longed for. He wondered how many times he had come close to the truth without knowing it. "Keep investigating, Benjamin. I need all the answers I can get. If Evelyn is truly my daughter, I can't let this opportunity slip away," Raoul said, the determination in his voice palpable. Benjamin nodded, understanding the urgency and importance of the request. "We'll do our best, Raoul. I'll keep you posted on any progress." Back at the mansion, Raoul tried to remain calm, but his anxiety was evident. He watched Evelyn from afar, imagining how drastically her life could soon change. Her every movement, every gesture, seemed to echo the memories of her lost daughter. One afternoon, while Evelyn was cleaning the library, Raoul unexpectedly entered. She looked at him, surprised, but smiled shyly. "Can I help you with anything, Mr. Walker?" Raoul hesitated for a moment. "No, I just wanted to see how your work is going." "Are you adjusting well?" "Yes, sir. I'm learning a lot and I'm grateful for the opportunity," Evelyn replied, sincerely. Raoul watched the necklace shining in the library light, feeling a tightness in his chest. Upon entering the office, he found Raoul sitting behind his desk, with a serious but kind look. He invited her to sit across from him. "Evelyn, I need to talk to you about something very important," Raoul began, trying to keep his voice steady. "Have you ever wondered about your past? About who your parents are?" Evelyn nodded, curiosity and anxiety shining in her eyes. "Yes, sir. I've always wanted to know, but I've never had any clues other than this necklace." Raoul took a deep breath before continuing. "That necklace, it belonged to my daughter, who disappeared 17 years ago. The information we have about you matches her disappearance. I think there's a chance you're my daughter." Evelyn was silent, trying to process what she had just heard. The idea was both exciting and frightening. "Are you saying that I can be your daughter?" "Yes, Evelyn. But we need to be sure. I would like us to do a DNA test to confirm paternity. That will give us a definitive answer." Evelyn felt a mix of emotions: hope, fear, disbelief. "Of course, sir. I will take the exam." Raoul smiled, relieved by the positive response. "Very well. I will arrange everything. I want you to know that regardless of the outcome, you are very important to us here." The next day, Raoul and Evelyn went to a specialized laboratory to carry out the DNA test. The procedure was quick, but the wait for the results seemed like an eternity. During those days, Raoul tried to maintain normality in the mansion, but the tension was palpable. While they waited for the results, Raoul watched Evelyn with a mix of hope and apprehension. He saw traces of his lost daughter in her and couldn't shake the idea that fate had finally brought them back. Evelyn, in turn, felt torn. The possibility of discovering his true origin was both exciting and terrifying. She wondered what her life would be like if Raoul was really her father and how that would change everything around her. At the Walker mansion, the atmosphere was charged with expectation. Adam watched everything from afar, suspicious of the changes it could bring. He knew that confirming Evelyn's paternity could drastically alter the dynamics in the house and possibly threaten his position. The following days were pure anxiety for everyone. Raoul and Evelyn tried to maintain their routine, but the wait for the results of the DNA test hung over them like a shadow. Every phone call, every knock on the door, made Raoul's heart race. Finally, the day of revelation arrived. The laboratory called to say the results were ready. Raoul and Evelyn went together to get the envelope that contained the answer to the question that haunted them. Back at the mansion, in Raoul's office, they opened the envelope with shaking hands, but still didn't read the result. The moment of truth was about to arrive, and they both knew that, regardless of what was written on that paper, their lives would never be the same. Raoul and Evelyn were sitting in front of the office table, the envelope with the DNA test results between them. Raoul's hands shook as he held the envelope, and Evelyn could feel the tension in the air. The moment of truth had arrived. "Let's open it together," said Raoul, his voice shaky but full of determination. Evelyn nodded, trying to contain the anxiety that was bubbling inside her. With a careful gesture, Raoul opened the envelope and removed the document. His eyes ran over the printed words, and he felt the world stop for a moment. "Evelyn," Raoul began, his voice cracking with emotion. "The result is positive. I am your father." For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Evelyn looked at Raoul, trying to assimilate the magnitude of that revelation. Tears began to stream down her face as she tried to find the words. "You are my daughter," Raoul repeated, his voice now filled with emotion. He opened his arms and Evelyn ran to him, hugging him tightly. They were both crying, a mix of relief and joy surrounding them. "I finally found my family," Evelyn whispered, feeling complete for the first time in her life. Raoul held Evelyn's face in his hands, his eyes full of tears. "We have so much time to recover, but I promise we will do it together." The news quickly spread throughout the mansion, and Amelia, Raoul's wife, was the next to be informed. When Raoul told her about the confirmation, Amelia was paralyzed for a moment, before bursting into tears of happiness. "My daughter, our daughter," Amelia said, running over to hug Evelyn. "I can't believe we finally found her." Amelia's hug was warm and welcoming, filling a void that Evelyn had always felt. She now had a mother, someone who loved her deeply and who was there to welcome her with an open heart. Joy took over the Walker mansion. The employees, who had watched the changes with curiosity and apprehension, now joined in the family celebration.
Before we continue, I need to tell you something amazing. Do you want to attract a lot of money into your life? Learn how to do it with the secret content that I will leave in the first pinned comment, and start transforming your financial life. Let's continue.
Adam, the butler, watched from afar, trying to hide his true feelings about the situation. Confirming Evelyn's paternity would change everything, and he knew his position was threatened. Evelyn began to integrate more deeply into the Walkers' lives. Raoul and Amelia always made a point of including Evelyn in all family activities, from quiet dinners to business meetings. For Evelyn, this adaptation was not simple, but her parents' constant support helped her face the challenges. Raoul, in particular, wanted to pass on all his knowledge about the family business to his daughter. He knew the task would not be easy, but he believed that Evelyn had the strength to excel. "I want you to know, Evelyn," Raoul said in a heartfelt conversation, "I'm here to support you every step of the way. You're part of this family, and together we can build a bright future." Evelyn listened intently, feeling a mixture of gratitude and motivation. She knew the path ahead would be full of obstacles, but she was eager to learn and grow. With Raoul and Amelia by her side, she felt ready to face any challenge. Meanwhile, Adam watched the family dynamics with growing uneasiness. He knew that Evelyn's arrival would change the dynamics of the Walker family and, with it, his own position in the house. Little by little, his discontent grew, bringing to the surface feelings of envy and fear about what the future held. The weeks following the revelation were a real whirlwind for Evelyn. She was adapting to life as a member of the family, participating in daily activities and immersing herself in the business world that surrounded her. The mansion, previously just a workspace, was now transformed into a welcoming home for her. One night, during a quiet dinner, Raoul and Evelyn were talking about their childhood. Amelia had already withdrawn, allowing father and daughter to deepen their bond. "Evelyn, there's something I've always wanted to know," Raoul began, setting his fork aside. "Do you remember anything about the day you were found? Any memories that might help us better understand what happened?" Raoul asked, watching Evelyn carefully. She frowned, trying to access the fragmented memories of her childhood. "I was very little, but there is something I have never forgotten," replied Evelyn, slowly. "I remember a man. He took me to the park. I can't see his face clearly, but he was nervous. He said I should stay there and someone would come and get me." Raoul felt his heart sink as he imagined his young daughter left alone in a park. "This man, do you remember anything else about him? Any characteristics that might help us identify him?" he insisted. Evelyn shook her head. "Not much, just that he seemed to be in a hurry and very anxious. I think he wore a hat, but it's all very confusing," Evelyn said, her voice shaking. Raoul held her hand, determination taking over his eyes. That's a breakthrough. Let's find out who he is and what really happened. I'll talk to Detective Benjamin again and ask him to investigate further. The next day, Raoul contacted Benjamin, sharing the new information that Evelyn had revealed. Benjamin, always careful in his work, assured that he would dedicate all the necessary resources to follow this new lead. I'm going to reopen the investigation focusing on that description, Raoul. We're going to check records, witnesses, and anyone who might remember anything about that day in the park, Benjamin said, taking note of every detail Raoul offered. Meanwhile, at the mansion, Evelyn felt a mix of relief and anxiety. She felt relief at finally sharing her memories and counting on Raoul's support, but she also felt anxious, fearing what the investigations might reveal. Meanwhile, Adam watched everything with growing concern, his thoughts confused and full of uncertainty about his future in the house. Benjamin's investigation began to advance quickly. He interviewed former employees of the orphanage and residents of the area near the park where Evelyn was found. Over time, fragments of information began to come together, forming a clearer, although still incomplete, picture. One afternoon, Raoul received a call from Benjamin. Raoul, I have some news. I found a witness who remembers a man dropping off a child at the park around that time. She couldn't see many details, but confirmed that he was wearing a hat and seemed to be in a hurry. Raoul felt a mix of hope and restlessness. That's great, Benjamin. Keep investigating. We need to know who he was and why he left my daughter there, said Raoul, determined. Benjamin agreed and promised to follow up on all leads. With the new information in hand, Raoul decided it was time to share everything with Evelyn. He called her into his office and together they reviewed the findings. We're making progress, Evelyn. Every little detail brings us closer to the truth, stated Raoul, holding her hand affectionately. Let's find out who did this and why. You deserve to know the whole truth. Evelyn felt a surge of gratitude and determination. Thank you, Dad. I know we'll find out the truth together. As the investigation progressed, both prepared to face any revelation that might arise. United in their search for the truth, they were certain that, regardless of what they discovered, they would face everything together, further strengthening the bond they now shared. As the investigation continued, the dynamics at the Walker mansion began to change. Evelyn, now recognized as Raoul's legitimate daughter, increasingly integrated herself into family life and business. Amelia welcomed her with open arms, and Evelyn's presence brought new joy to the home. However, not everyone shared this enthusiasm. Adam, the longtime butler, began to show signs of discontent. His expression, previously impassive, now revealed constant tension. He watched Evelyn with a mixture of suspicion and resentment. With each new responsibility she took on in the family business, Adam's restlessness increased. One day, Raoul noticed Adam's change in behavior. The butler was more harsh and impatient, especially with Evelyn. Raoul decided it was time for a frank conversation. Adam, can we talk? Called the butler to his office. Adam entered, maintaining his rigid stance. Yes, Mr. Walker. How can I help you? Raoul watched him for a moment before speaking. I've noticed that you've been different since Evelyn joined us. I wonder if there's something that's been bothering you. Adam hesitated, but his expression hardened. Mr. Walker, I have served this family for over 30 years. I have always considered my loyalty to be unquestionable. But with Evelyn's arrival, it seems that everything has changed, Adam explained, frustration showing in his words. Raoul frowned. Adam, Evelyn is my daughter. She has every right to be here and be part of the family business. If there is anything else that bothers you, I need you to be honest with me. Adam shook his head, avoiding Raoul's gaze. Nothing, sir. I'm just adjusting to the changes. Raoul wasn't completely convinced, but decided not to press any further at that moment. However, he knew something deeper was at play. Adam had always been a pillar of trust, but his recent attitude raised suspicions. Meanwhile, Benjamin continued to investigate, determined to uncover any connection between the man who left Evelyn in the park and other people who might have been involved. Raoul maintained frequent contact with the detective, anxiously awaiting new information. The tension in the Walker mansion was palpable. Adam, feeling his place threatened, began to act more erratically. Small mistakes in their daily tasks, scathing comments, and furtive glances became frequent. Evelyn, although she noticed the butler's behavior, remained focused on her responsibilities, determined not to let anything affect her new life. Raoul knew that the truth about Evelyn's past was getting closer. He also understood that he needed to be alert to any sign of betrayal within his own home. Adam's true face was beginning to reveal itself, and Raoul was determined to protect his family, no matter what the cost. After a few weeks of investigation, Benjamin called Raoul in an urgent voice. "Raoul, we need to meet. I discovered something important about the man who left Evelyn in the park." Raoul felt a chill down his spine. "I'm on my way, Benjamin." In the detective's office, Raoul found an environment full of tension. Benjamin presented a detailed dossier. "Raoul, my investigations have led to a disturbing discovery. The man who left Evelyn in the park 17 years ago was none other than Adam, the butler." Raoul was stunned. "Adam? That's unbelievable. Do you have proof of that?" Benjamin nodded and handed Raoul a series of documents and photographs. Witnesses finally confirmed the man's identity, and old records show suspicious links between Adam and events surrounding his daughter's disappearance. Back at the mansion, Raoul felt anger and betrayal burn inside him. He called Adam into his office, holding the evidence in his shaking hands. "Adam, we need to talk." "Now," Raoul said, his voice firm. Adam entered, maintaining a calm facade, but Raoul could see the nervousness in his eyes. "Yes, Mr. Walker. How can I help you?" Raoul threw the evidence on the table between them. "Explain this, Adam. Explain how you could do this to my family." Adam looked at the documents, and the color drained from his face. "Mr. Walker, I can explain. There is no explanation that justifies what you did." Raoul shouted, anger boiling over. "You took my daughter, left her alone in a park. Why?" Adam finally collapsed, his defenses broken. I was desperate. When I found out your daughter was born, I feared losing my place here. I always thought that, without heirs, you would leave me everything. I did a terrible thing, and I regret it every day." Raoul looked at Adam, pain and fury mixed on his face. "You destroyed our lives, Adam. I trusted you. I ask you to forgive me, Mr. Raoul." "I didn't do anything wrong," said Adam, his voice trembling and full of despair. Raoul, with mixed emotions and knowing everything, decided to call his lawyer, Dr. Alvarenga, so that they could go to a police station together. Gathering all the evidence against Adam, they headed to the police station. The weight of the revelations was still fresh in their minds, but Raoul knew he could no longer delay the search for justice. At the police station, they were received by Chief Inspector Morera, a man with a stern but fair appearance. Dr. Alvarenga presented the documents and evidence that incriminated Adam. "Inspector Morera, we have overwhelming evidence that Adam, the Walker family's butler, was responsible for the disappearance of Raoul's daughter 17 years ago," explained Dr. Alvarenga, handing the dossier to the inspector. The inspector leafed through the documents, examining photos, statements, and records. His expression hardened as he understood the gravity of the case. "These are very serious allegations. We will proceed with the arrest immediately. I need Mr. Walker to be prepared to file charges." "I'm ready to do whatever is necessary," Raoul replied, the determination in his voice unshakable. Back at the mansion, the tension was palpable. Adam was visibly nervous, aware that something was about to happen. When the police arrived, he tried to maintain his composure, but his eyes betrayed his growing fear. "Mr. Adam is under arrest for the kidnapping of Mr. Walker's daughter," Inspector Morera announced. "You have the right to remain silent, but anything you say can and will be used against you in court." Adam did not resist arrest. The cuffs on his wrists seemed to seal his fate. As he was taken to the police car, he looked at Raoul with eyes full of remorse and fear. "Raoul, I'm so sorry," Adam stammered. "I thought I was protecting my future, but I ended up destroying yours. I did it because I was afraid of losing my place here, my livelihood. When your daughter was born, I knew everything would change. I acted out of desperation, not malice." Raoul remained firm, although Adam's words touched a part of his compassion. "Adam, your desperation does not justify what you did. You destroyed our lives. Now justice will be served." At the police station, Adam was formally interrogated and confessed to his crimes in detail, explaining his motivations and the fear that led him to act in such a cruel way. His confessions were recorded, and he was sent to prison, where he would await trial. Raoul returned home feeling a mixture of relief and sadness. The betrayal of someone he deeply trusted left a painful scar, but there was also a sense of justice being restored. Each step toward the truth felt like a small triumph, but the emotional cost was high. Evelyn, upon learning of Adam's arrest, felt a mix of emotions. The truth had finally come to light, but the path there had been full of pain and bitter revelations. That night, Raoul, Amelia, and Evelyn gathered in the living room, hugging each other and finding solace in each other's presence. The Walker mansion, which for so long had harbored secrets and betrayals, now began to transform into a true home, where truth and love prevailed. "Let's move on," Raoul said, looking at his wife and daughter. "Together, like a family. Nothing will separate us anymore." Adam's arrest marked the end of a dark chapter in the lives of the Walker family. With the truth finally revealed and justice being served, Raoul, Amelia and Evelyn were determined to move forward and make up for lost time. The atmosphere in the mansion began to change, moving from constant tension to an atmosphere of hope and renewal. In the days that followed, Raoul made the decision to spend more time with his family. He reduced his working hours, delegating more responsibilities to his trusted executives. Evelyn, in turn, continued to join the family business, but now with a new purpose, strengthening family ties. Each morning, the family would gather for breakfast, a time that was previously rarely shared due to busy schedules. The conversations were light and full of laughter, with Raoul and Amelia delighting in listening to Evelyn's childhood stories in the orphanage and her dreams for the future. "I want to learn all about the family business, Father," said Evelyn one such morning. "But I also want us to have time to get to know each other better." Raoul smiled, touched by his daughter's sincerity. "Of course, my dear. Let's balance everything. I want you to feel part of every aspect of our lives," Raoul said, looking at Evelyn with a warm smile. Afternoons were often spent in the mansion's garden, where Evelyn and Amelia tended to the flowers and planned new beds. The garden, which had always been beautiful, was now blooming like never before, reflecting the family's new energy. "This place is more beautiful every day," commented Amelia, as she planted new flowers next to Evelyn. And I feel like that's a reflection of what we're building together." Evelyn smiled, truly feeling at home. "I'm so happy to be here with you. I never thought I would find my family and, moreover, so much love." At night, the family would gather in the living room to watch movies, play board games, or simply talk. Raoul and Amelia shared stories of their youth, and Evelyn delighted in hearing every detail, feeling more connected to her parents every day. In one of these moments, Raoul made a suggestion that brought tears to everyone's eyes. "We're going on a family trip. Something we've always wanted to do, but never had the chance." Amelia immediately agreed. "It would be wonderful. We can go somewhere special where we can make new memories." Evelyn was excited about the idea. "I would love that. We can explore new places and enjoy every moment together." With the trip scheduled, the family began planning every detail. The anticipation of new adventures together brought added joy to the Walker mansion. Planning the trip was as exciting as the prospect of traveling itself, and each family member contributed ideas and desires. "How about a place by the sea?" suggested Evelyn. "We can relax on the beach and go boating." Amelia excitedly added, "And we get to try the local cuisine. I love the idea of trying new dishes together." Raoul, observing the family's excitement, felt happy. "We're going to include some outdoor activities too. Trails, bike rides, something that keeps us active and connected with nature." The Walker mansion, once marked by secrets and tension, now resonates with laughter and love. The halls that had witnessed years of loneliness and sadness now vibrated with life and happiness. The painful past was replaced by a present full of promise and a future full of hope. "We're building something wonderful here," said Raoul, holding Amelia and Evelyn's hands as they looked out at the moonlit garden. "A home full of love and joy." Evelyn looked at her parents gratefully. "And I'm so grateful to be here, with you. Let's make every day count." With this promise, the Walker family prepared for a bright future, united by love and determination to enjoy every moment together. The mansion, now a true home, was a symbol of resilience and the ability to transform pain into happiness, showing that, together, they could overcome any challenge and build a life full of joy and hope. Did you like this story today? So help us by sharing it, leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. By doing this you won't miss our next video. A big hug and see you next time.